Welcome to This Commerce Life. We are an unscripted podcast dedicated to small businesses and entrepreneurs in the retail and consumer packaged goods space in Canada and the United States.
I am Phil Chang, co-host and co-founder.
And I'm Kenny Vanucci, co-host and co-founder of This Commerce Life.
Our love is the journey to retail, and our passion is sharing that with you every week.
Honestly, you're so quick to the record button.
Who, me?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It's on a hair trigger.
I don't know how to record.
It's on a hair trigger.
I wouldn't even know how to record.
Record everything.
Record?
That's the default. Record everything.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Just record everything. You'd be surprised all the things I've recorded you, Kenny.
You know what? Whatever. First off, I won't remember I said it anyway, and if it's recorded, I'll just that was me. Obviously, I said it. What do you want me to do? I can't take it back.
Oh man, how are you?
God, you guys. Hi.
How are you?
Hi. We are.
You get in stock, man. You can't go do demos with empty holes in the shelf.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
How do you do demos like that? Well, what's the point?
You guys clearly didn't watch the whole reel. Didn't you see the last image? It was like full, perfect. That's right when I got there. Oh, your attention span is like that.
Oh, it's less. That was good. You gave me way more credit than I deserve.
You're very
kind excited
there
for
a second.
I thought, wow, this is awesome. She actually sold out.
So, the point of that post was that I was, I'm really excited going into the summer that demos are open up again because
for sure.
It's such a big difference for me. And I got there and it was a cluster. Sorry, can I swear?
It's a podcast. Do whatever you want.
Did you swear?
As long as you're okay with it, it doesn't bother us. Say whatever you want.
No, I'm just joking. Do what you want.
Swearing is my favorite.
Go ahead, light it up.
Swearing is our favorite.
Sometimes it's just way more impactful by swearing. Anyways, it was a clusterfuck of.
Yeah.
You saw it, right? Empty pints on their side, and so it was exciting to see that. The product was moving, but the promo was $5.99. The promo was supposed to be $2 for 10. So my whole post was, don't wait around for someone to do it.
I read that part. I read when you went in and changed it. And some girl said, well, I would have cleaned them out. You said $5.99. She said $5.99. I would have cleaned them out. I said, no, it's 2 for 10 actually. Then she really would have cleaned them out.
Yeah. And 2 for 10, I learned that from Haagen-Dazs. Damn, you move product at 2 for 10.
As long as what store was that? That was
on the island, a super small store. I'm actually doing it in a couple stores on the island. So the one you probably know is Country Grocer.
I thought they looked like Country Grocer signs. I think what you gotta understand with the 2 for 10s is like when Superstore does a 2 for 10, and when we used to do them at London, there was 2 for 10 or $5.99 each. So it forced the multiple.
Yeah.
Safeway and all them did 2 for 10s, but if you bought one, you got it for $5.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so stupid because it's not 2 for 10. It's really 4 for 20 or 5 for 25 because it's irrelevant because it's $5 each. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Force people to buy some volume, right? Move some shit off the shelves.
Kenny,
that's what you're trying to do.
I am going to write that down because I just learned something and I think it's only been 30 seconds.
Well, that might be it though. So like we might have just blown the whole podcast.
You
in the
just
first 5 minutes.
I don't even think Kenny's head even fits in the camera frame anymore. Like, look at what you just did. You're like,
why do you be like that?
Don't worry.
I'm just
Phil.
telling people on the multiples. I know how they work,
too.
and I hate that. I hate when people do multiples the way they do them. You should force volume. That's the whole point.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
No, it's like
especially if you probably
pay
pay for the scan back too, right? You pay for scans. I'm assuming you helped them dollar down a bit.
Of course.
Well, then you don't want to pay for every unit. Like if someone buys a single, I don't want to pay a scan.
Yeah.
No.
I want to pay a scan when they rifle 2 through the till.
Well, it's a smart way to get profit out of it too, right? Like
it's good for the stores.
2 for 10 or $5.99. So if you really only want one, at least we can make some money out of it, right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Well, that's why I never understood the Safeway model. But anyway, that's what they do.
It's in truth, being in ice cream, I've learned everything. I think a lot of people that enter CPG learn everything the first time the hard way. and people just don't shop frozen, right? So
No.
I engaged with 100 customers in 4 stores over 2 days.
Mhm.
2 out of 100 had ever tried or heard of Betterwith. 2%. I have
Because
a
you know
lot
what
of
happens
work.
when you go to the set? But think of it, you got a lot of work. And this is what we tell people. This is why I really am not a fan of Frozen. Frozen, if you watch, now that you're in Frozen, walk the pizza set. For example, if you do not see a sign, you will see full pizza. If you see a sign on it, a sale sign, it's empty.
Yeah.
Frozen vegetables, frozen fruits, ice cream, the same. You got
It's
one
hard to
pain in the ass
merge.
competitor that Nestle owns,
Yeah.
and they're on all the time. And if it's not them, it's Breyers. Between the two of those pricks, it's hard for you because they get signage. So that people just go back and forth between the deal. It's hard.
So I'll never forget this moment at Fresh Street in West Van. Really great.
It's a nice store.
Store manager there, and unfortunately I can't remember his name, but this was going into our very first summer, and he's like, okay, let's put you on an end cap. Let's put you on promo for June and Canada Day. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And he's like, so what promo are you willing to do? And I was like, it's ice cream season. It's a holiday.
Yeah, it's like prime season. Why am I giving this shit away?
I was like, why would I be on promo?
Yeah.
And he literally took my hand and walked me down the frozen aisle. And he said, look, if you're not, these people will be.
100%.
And he's like, I'm giving you the first chance.
Yeah.
And I looked at him and I just was like, oh, fuck. This is the game.
Stupid as that sounds, because it is, as a retailer, like, you need to be moronic. And I was a retailer, so you got to be moronic to put ice cream on in the summer. You know why? I'm buying ice cream.
Yeah.
It just needs to be nice out.
Yeah. I mean, I just need a nice day. I'm buying the ice cream.
Like last Friday in Ontario, it was like 25 degrees, right? And we'd been out the night before, and we bought some ice cream, right? And I bought some frozen yogurt stuff that the kids like, and the kids were like hitting it hard, going, "Dad, let's go. Is it on sale? Like, let's go back and get another box the next day." So we've got some extra, and we went back, and the set was just decimated. Like, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, because it's seasonal, right? It's kind of like cough cold season. Like, why do you put cough syrup on sale in October when everybody's coughing? Like, what's wrong with you, right? All you got to do is put up a sign that says, "Hi, I'm here." They go, "Yeah, okay, I'm in." Like,
yeah. Like, the problem is, though, they train people. Those frozen sets have trained people.
Yeah.
People know, like, you look for the hole. That's where you go.
It's also
that's why Haagen is always wiped out.
It's also hard to merch, though, right? Like you've got the glass, right? So you've got the glare of the glass. If you've got older fridge sets with a condensation in it, it's hard to see anything, right?
To look inside, you can see through the glass if you stand there. And now the glass is all fogged up, so the next person can't see shit. I mean, honestly, oh my god.
Oh man.
But that's good. So something had to be demo.
Man.
All things I wish I knew before I entered the space. Let me tell you, every day.
You know what, though? At the end of the day, you're in and you're doing. Well, you're going to tell us in a second, because we talked a little bit about this the last time we did that mini podcast. It was only supposed to be 15 minutes. I think we went long on that one. So tonight you get to at least tell us that story, like, why'd you do it? Like, where did it come from? All the cool stuff. That was the purpose of this one.
So that's a good segue. So we're with Lori Joyce, and she does Betterwith Ice Cream. And we've heard her on a small short already. We did a fast thought with Lori that you can see on the YouTube channel. But we had a really good 15 minutes with Lori last time, so we wanted to bring her back. And it is ice cream season. So
who doesn't like ice cream?
It's a really good time to hear why ice cream, and then why Betterwith Ice Cream. So Lori, floor is yours.
Floor's yours, baby. Light it up.
Tell us what is going on.
Light it up.
I don't know. I don't think you ever need an excuse to eat or talk about ice cream.
Oh my God.
We don't.
Ice cream.
It's just.
So I run 3 times a week, and the reason I do it is so I can keep eating ice cream. Yeah. I could care less about all the other desserts. Like, I like dessert. I like eating like Kenny, but
I like ice cream.
But ice cream is like,
and for me, ice cream's not
the thing.
seasonal.
It's
No, no.
totally
Frankly,
not.
I actually
No,
quite
no.
like it. I like it in the
Yeah,
winter.
yeah,
I like
all the time.
I don't
All
I
the
tell you the truth,
time.
I don't like it in the summer as much. You know why? It melts too fast. I actually like it
Nah,
when
I
it's
like
a little
it
colder.
all the time.
I could eat ice cream all day.
All the
every
time
day.
on an ice cream cone in a cup, like
Yeah, all
with
day.
some extra whipped cream, like you name it. It's just ice cream.
Throw some cookies
I'm
on
in.
it,
So,
whatever,
yeah.
chocolate chips,
Yeah.
all over.
Your mom's biscotti.
Kahlua,
Kahlua, yeah, you can booze it up.
espresso.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So there are so many reasons why I got into this. I'm going to try.
So where'd
to
you
keep
start
this-
before this though? Let's.
Yeah.
We got time. We've got time.
Let's go there.
It's your
Yeah.
hour. I'm done. You know. So where'd you come from? Why this? But I want you got to some back channels so we can understand or think to ourselves, why did she do this?
Okay, well, I'll take it back to 2002 when I launched Cupcakes.
Okay.
So Cupcakes Bakery in Vancouver, Denman, that morphed into, I don't know, I think at the most we had about 15 locations. So my best friend and I, both of us are from Victoria, and we were just typical girlfriends that were in our mid-20s and we were tired of working for other people. And we had been working in New York, literally at Ground Zero in the fall of 2001. And right there, because we were working for a Vancouver-based odor control product, which was a phenomenal product. It was super interesting. And I was sales, I guess you'd call it head of sales, because I was the only salesperson there. It was really, really small startup.
You're VP of sales.
I was VP of sales. And I just wanted to take Heather to this bakery that happened to also sell cupcakes. And this is before they were famous, because being in New York and being in Ground Zero was such a, sobering
for sure
feeling. And I'm a big fan of New York. So it was actually, it was a hard thing for me to experience. And I thought something like a cupcake would be a nice refreshing change to the day. And Heather's claustrophobic. So we go into Magnolia Bakery, which now is literally on all the tourist stops, SNL and everything, Sex and the City. I mean, it exploded, but this was before then.
It's not as good now, I'll just say.
Oh, it's not the same owners. It's completely changed. It's gone.
Like the old Magnolia when nobody knew it. It was so good.
The cupcakes were tucked in the corner. It was an afterthought. They did them because they had leftover cake batter. That's when we were in there. And Heather couldn't go inside because she's claustrophobic. And I came out with this box of 4 cupcakes, unmarked, like a white square box. And we take a cab and we're on our way to the hotel room. And I think by the 3rd cupcake, I maybe remembered to offer her one. Because I just,
why sure if you don't have to?
Well, they were delicious. They were delicious. They were quintessentially the nostalgic, culinary experience that you'd want in a cupcake.
They were, Kenny, you've never had one of these.
I don't think so. No.
Oh my God. They're just.
No, or not that I remember. And
so I work for Revlon between 2000 and 2002. So spent some time in New York, and then later on, even before like when I was with J&J in 06, 07, Magnolia hadn't kind of made the popularity yet. So there's a long list of trips into New York just to get ramen and cupcakes.
And cupcakes from Magnolia. Like remember the velvet rope for the lineup?
God.
It was exquisite.
So good.
It was super. It was charming. It was so village, downtown village, and very understated. But Heather's watching me devour these cupcakes. And I should maybe back this up a little bit. I grew up in an incredibly traditional Catholic Croatian household. My mom would labor over making by hand. Like she'd pick the apples from our own tree. She'd make the phyllo pastry tirelessly every fucking Sunday.
Yep.
And so I hated that stuff, not only because I had it, but I didn't associate pleasure with it.
There was no pleasure in watching someone slave.
No.
This is nothing. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. You get it.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Totally. These old European women, these nonas are sweating in their basements, making these desserts. I would swap my mom's very expensive homemade apple strudel for Rice Krispie squares any day. Like, get me a fresh Rice Krispie square or a Duncan Hines cupcake. I was so happy.
That's funny.
So
sorry, just one thing. So do you know the Asian version of that? My dad used to hand make dumplings.
Oh, see, I would cherish that.
So
See, to me, I don't understand. To me, that would be crazy cool.
But it isn't crazy cool because it became a sweatshop, right? Because my dad, because imagine, like we're the model of operational efficiency, right? So why the fuck would you make 100 and enjoy yourself when you can make 500 of them, right? Like, and then yelling at, my father yelling at it, that's too thick, and So by the time you're done, you're like, I don't want, you know what? I'm gonna go to bed. I could give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna stay hungry. I don't ever want to eat another dumpling as long as I live. Like.
I totally took the pleasure out of it.
So the strudel story, it's my dumpling story. I'm all in with you. I get it. Like, if only we knew each other then, I'd trade you dumpling for a strudel. It'd be great. Like, would have been a really great trade.
There's no way at the age of that I was at that I was going to eat a dumpling. I had it was like European or all American.
Yeah.
That was kind of as broad as I would go. But I would get my hand slapped if I stretched the dough too far.
Cut things wrong, put in the wrong order, right? Walk away to go to the bathroom or something that you had to do, like anything, right?
So you can do this, don't you, Phil? You totally relate to this.
God. I had two other siblings, right? So you there was a careful balance because you had to make sure that you had equal amounts of production, so nobody got picked on for being too slow. Or God forbid that your strudel, my dumpling, should come out misshapen or.
Oh no, it was so stressful. Those memories, nothing joyful about them at all. It did probably taste delicious, but that didn't matter. I was over it. By the time it was baked, I was totally over it. So
I'm sorry. So please continue. I'm dying now.
So back to the cab ride, and I have like icing all over my face, and Heather just looks at me and she's like, "This is what we should do." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Sit in the cab and eat cupcakes?
We should open up a cupcake bakery. And I was like, Heather, we've never even worked in a Starbucks. Like, I don't know how to make cupcakes. Like, neither one of us had ever worked in a food environment.
Right.
And so I, being a typical best friend, I just called her out, thought she was crazy. And 6 months later, we were going for a run on the seawall in the West End. And there was this big red and white sign, CB Richard Ellis for sale, right at 1116 Denman Street. I'll never forget it. Shannon Thornley, 604-662-3000. And I was like, that's the perfect location for a cupcake store. And she was like, what are you talking about? You totally made fun of me for that. And I was like, well, I always took a little bit longer. Like, she was always very spontaneous with these ideas. And I was the one that just took time to really have things settle. And, the next day we called Shannon, got a tour. I think in 3 months we were open. That business morphed into a TV show called The Cupcake Girls. I don't expect you guys would know about that. You're mainly because you're not the demographic.
No.
Well, we don't look like cupcake girls. Like, what the hell?
I could be a cupcake girl if I want to be. I could be whatever I want. How's that? Okay, we're a very open show. Well, if I want to be a cupcake girl, damn, I can be a cupcake girl.
I might just be my pants. Okay.
So, you're at home. It doesn't matter to us.
It's your sofa.
It's your sofa. It's whatever you got to figure that part out. We don't care.
So
it could be a 3-hour podcast. Losers.
I just can't look at you.
Oh,
I'm dying.
Honestly. I'm looking at cupcake girls.
Phil has left the room.
I've left the building.
Oh, Lori. It's like I've known you all of my life.
Well,
it's amazing.
I think consciously we have, actually. Yeah. I think, where did you grow up? In Toronto?
In Toronto. Yeah.
We were both stuck in basements as children.
I think I saw this, that. I had to go online now. I'm looking at it. I think I saw this.
Oh, Cupcake Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was you guys, it was a big deal. It was like we won a Gemini Award.
That's
Really?
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
W Network, like 90 plus countries worldwide.
Yeah. How crazy
Um,
cool is that?
Yeah, it became this really crazy.
Wait. So you didn't lead with "We won a Gemini award"?
That's
I didn't
funny.
think it was that. I didn't think it was that important, actually.
Well, it makes for a good story.
Yeah.
We you know what's the good story is going to the Gemini Awards with my mom as my date, because the man I was married to at the time fucking hated the show, hated it.
What?
Oh, hated it. So it was like the beginning of the end of our marriage. Anyways, oh yeah, hated it. And Robert Hurjevich, who at the time was a dragon on Dragon's Den, is also Croatian. So naturally, I walked up to him and I just started speaking Croatian to him. And we, this is before the awards show started, and we just were hanging out, and he's with his daughter and I'm with my mom, and the four of us are having this great time. And he had no idea who I was. And so when it was curtain call, I'm like, hey, may the best men win. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, we're up against you in Best New Reality Show. And he was so humble and lovely. And he was like, what? This is super cool and exciting. And so we were sitting, of course, at the very back, and Dragon's Den was sitting at the very front. So when we walked up to the stage to get the award, he was standing there front row giving us.
How cool is that, eh?
That's amazing.
It gets cooler. When we left the theater, he was waiting for us in his car. And this is so embarrassing. This is so me growing up on a farm in Victoria. He had the most elegant, most beautiful, I guess, Rolls Royce.
Yeah, probably.
There's a name for it. I think it's like Azure or something. It's like this blue, magnetic blue color. Anyways, He had like, I'm talking like the driver with the white gloves.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing. And he ran out and he gave us all this big hug, and just so proud of us and so excited. And I innocently went to the car to say hello to his daughter, because we'd been hanging out earlier, and I had no idea how the door worked. It's one of those ones where the door,
because it opens the other way. Yeah.
It was just like a total klutz move. Anyways, he's
That's
such
amazing.
a great guy.
He seems like a really nice man. He actually seems like a really nice man.
Well, he actually grew up in a village near my mom in Croatia. Very, very, humble, very poor, very rural village. And so we talked about that,
That's cool, though, right? How cool is that?
And he was awesome. Yeah, he was really great. So that was my favorite part of receiving the Gemini Award. And, actually, no one really knows about this. The show was canceled. By the way. Yeah. The show got canceled because my husband would not tolerate, give permission to have the cameras come into our house. So season 1, I had a really successful first try, thankfully, in vitro. So I told that whole story. That was season 1,
right,
which I was told is why we won the Gemini Award. Heather was pregnant season 2, and then I got pregnant in season 3. So naturally, because we're two best friends and we're running this business together and it's crazy, they wanted to take the show into our personal lives and how we were adapting as moms and best friends and with the baby. And so Heather was really open to that, and so was her husband. And of course they needed to balance that out and bring the camera into our house. And my husband was like, if I catch them in a block, like, I'm calling the cops. Like, he's like, I want nothing to do with this. He wouldn't even let the show feature them on like the baby's face on the show, right? Super, super private. I had to respect that. I couldn't, I remember having that important luncheon with the producer, and he was like, well, this is what we're going to need to get another season. And I was like,
sorry, I can't do it.
It's not going to happen. And he was like, well, you know what this means. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
What are you supposed to do? I mean, if there's a lot of, I feel bad because, it's the shitty way to end the show for you, but there's a lot of people that I know family and friends would not want cameras near their house. Same reason. Yeah, I wouldn't care. Like, I'm like, I don't really care. If I was doing something like that, okay, that's part of it, right? But It's hard. I mean, it's
It
just
was a
feels,
tremendous opportunity for the business.
it would have been killer, right? It would have been awesome.
Yeah, we were like literally we were
Right.
going like this, and
And what do you do?
yeah. So it
I guess
was.
if you did do what you did, you took care of that marriage. Is what you sort of did.
Who knows what would happen? That there would have been a spin-off. That's what would have happened.
This could have gone on for years. Wow.
So
well, what do you do?
So as a result, things changed pretty quickly because I pretty much took away that income from Heather, right? And that was really, I think, hard for her to, for anybody to deal with. So her husband got this tremendous opportunity to work in Kansas City, and they originally thought that it was going to be temporary. But when they decided they weren't coming back, because they were actually, it's amazing. I don't know if you know this about Kansas City or in Middle America. They have this thing called, just wait, what's it called? Oh yeah, disposable income. We don't have it here. Have you heard of it?
I was from the Kootenays. Yeah, we had it there too.
So you're familiar with it?
Yeah, it's a concept that you don't, as soon as you hit the Lower Mainland or any major city, that it goes away.
Yeah,
so there are parts in Kansas now and Missouri where they're actually paying people to relocate to.
Yeah.
So you can get disposable income and extra income. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have.
Just saying.
You know what? I've been there a few times. It ain't that bad.
No, it's not that terrible.
No, it really isn't.
There are some really nice parts.
Yeah.
There's some really nice parts. There's some not so nice parts.
There's nice parts everywhere.
Yeah. No,
there's some not so nice parts.
Well.
Like there are parts that as an Asian guy I worry a little if I were driving alone. Maybe a little less now than I did, 10 or 15 years ago. But
maybe not.
Yeah. But there are some really, really nice parts there.
Oh yeah, where they're living, they're doing much better there than if they were still living here. For sure.
Disposable income.
Yeah. And the convenience of direct flights to anywhere from there, right? Super accessible, affordable. I mean, it just goes on. But
it's a game changer.
So because Heather was operations of Cupcakes and because we had been doing it together for so long, I really didn't feel comfortable or satisfied or excited to continue with the business without her. And that's where Betterwith started. So originally the name was created because cupcakes are better with ice cream. So this was my way of trying to do a line extension, something that was mine, that didn't involve Heather, but could maybe add something to Cupcakes. And ironically, well, for so many reasons, I was learning everything as I was going. It just didn't work. We couldn't get it to work. And so because I felt I had made this amazing product and I was so proud of it, because one thing I haven't talked about is that upbringing with my, excuse me, very traditional Croatian parents. They raised me on this absolutely beautiful, organic, self-sustaining farm. So my parents brought their farming traditions and information and knowledge that they had for, I don't know how many generations. And when my two baby boys were starting to eat solids and I was a mom in the grocery aisle and I was starting to pay attention to ingredient labels for the first time, that's really where I felt betrayed as a customer. Being in the food business already, I thought that I saw it as a huge opportunity to make something better and something that I really understood, right? Like, to me, the way that we were eating and growing food and the way we were practicing responsible farming I was so aware and knowledgeable about it that I just thought, you know what, this is a product that right now I'd love to serve my kids. It's something that, is much better than what's available, because what I was reading was all these frozen dessert options that had, so many ingredients, like, the ingredient deck was so long. And it just was something that I got excited about. I got excited about creating something that was better, that, today when I'm talking to customers, the easiest way to deliver it is like, we're the better Canadian version of Haagen-Dazs. So Haagen-Dazs is a really great quality ice cream product, and they deserve to be on that shelf. They have been for a long time, but I wanted to be the better Canadian version. And so because we make our flavors, we actually result in an ice cream product that does have less sugar. It does have less calories, and it tastes more real because we're making it with real, well, so is Haagen-Dazs, but there's this real freshness about it.
Okay, cool.
And so that's where the name actually started. And, and now I just evolve that into there's so many marketing opportunities with Betterwith, right? Like life is better with ice cream. Everything is better with ice cream. The best is better with ice cream. It just plays on so many different
that's very cool.
fun slogans.
Very cool.
Is this like 2012, 2013 then when you get this idea for the ice cream? Like, or how far back?
No, about 2014, because my youngest was so Lexi, my youngest, loved strawberry ice cream. So he was probably 3 or 4 years old. And we'd go, into the fancy ice cream shops in Vancouver and, like Ernest or Rain or Shine. And he was that kid that just wanted strawberry ice cream. He didn't want strawberry and balsamic. How there was all these
strawberry
funky flavors. Yeah, just straight up.
He just wanted strawberry. So I was that really embarrassing customer who had their 3-year-old having a meltdown because it was like strawberry or nothing. Like Lexi is non-compromising.
I gotta tell you, I'm the same. Like if I'm trying a new ice cream, strawberries, like, if ice cream's good if the strawberry passes. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'm the same. I don't want anyone screwing with my strawberry ice cream because I like it. And I'll know if it's good, right? Like I'll know it's the one, like vanilla to me. So I don't know if this is real or not, but to me, if you make a vanilla and you use fake vanilla, it's harder to tell if it's real or not. Like sometimes you can tell from the vanilla bean, but it's harder because the perfumey taste doesn't come out right. But with strawberries, soon as it hits your mouth, these are real or you guys use flavoring. Like you can just tell, like it pops all different to me, right? So
yeah, that's a really great analogy. So that was my test, is making a natural, real strawberry ice cream that my 3-year-old son would love, that wasn't hot pink in color. And honestly, I think I nailed it. I think our strawberry ice cream is the best strawberry ice cream on the market. It's like our number 2, it's right behind vanilla with our product. But I went from strawberry and, I sometimes shy away from saying this, but I'm just going to be honest, which is my trademark. I don't like vanilla. I don't like vanilla anything. I've never been interested in anything vanilla. So selfishly, I made my own favorite flavor, which is cream. So we do vanilla and it's our number 1, but I also launched cream because I felt that as a flavor, it held its own. And
I get that.
And the cream is really kind of speaks to me in my upbringing where, it's like frozen whipping cream. It's a la mode, right? And, in the European food, everything's about simplicity. So I wanted to make, even though it didn't exist and, my co-packers were like, you can't do this. This is ridiculous. And I was like, well, just wait till you try it. And then they try it and they'd be like, why aren't we doing this? Wow, this is so good. So cream, and of course I'd glare at them and I'd be like, you signed an NDA. That's why you're not doing it. That was like co-packer meeting number 1. But I landed with cream. And then from there, it was about replicating the classic flavors, but better.
Right.
So my chocolate I specifically worked hard at getting the taste sensation of fudgicles from the 80s when they were like really creamy and had depth. So we added sea salt to our chocolate to give it that depth. Yeah. So our chocolate ice cream, I think we nailed the 80s fudgicle. Coffee it's an Arabica organic bean from Brazil. It's like a punch in the face. It's like real coffee. And then our caramel is, because I made this for my kids, it does have sea salt in it, but it's more for depth. It's not on the tongue. And so it's really nice. And, our caramel, for example, is 50% less sugar than Haagen-Dazs. So you get this caramel flavor and this richness and this depth, but it's not too sweet. It's beautiful.
Wow.
So
wait, let me let's back it up, because now you're making me hungry again. So I'm trying to go into retail for a minute before I run down the street to Superstore and buy some ice cream. Is it in Superstore?
no.
Where is it in Vancouver? Where am I going to be close to home? Save On?
Nope, they won't return any of my phone calls. Where do you live?
I live in East
like-
Van, by the Italian Center. By close to the Croatian Center. Yeah.
Okay. Choices,
the
Nesters, Buy Low,
Okay.
Whole Foods, of course. They were my first grocery partner. Thrifties,
Whole
select
Foods
Safeways.
is up in Burnaby. I'll run up to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So at the time though, so you came out with your first SKUs, strawberry. I'm assuming you came out with 1 or 2 SKUs before
We launched with all 6.
all 6, and you
Mhm.
launched on the island.
I launched at
Here?
CHFA,
Yeah,
and Whole Foods was my very first.
that's,
It's
I
2017.
thought Whole Foods was major, like not your first retailer. Like you're
First
still
retailer.
okay. So you went from no retailer to Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, that's, I was still thinking, okay, there's got to be a couple shops on the island that had no before Whole Foods. Wow, okay.
No,
Wow.
we launched at
So you had
CHFA.
nothing, no distribution, and you went to the CHFA show.
I went to CHFA okay, so I don't know how much time you guys have for this interview. So
Wait. So tell us how that went down, because like that is
Not normal.
It's not
Unless you're in the industry. Okay, now, if you've been in the industry for 10 years,
Yeah.
and this is your second or third brand,
Yeah.
and you know people and you know some
Yeah.
retailers, you can do
Yeah.
it. You can do a show
Yeah.
with no distribution, no problem. I did it. I did this last one in essence with no distribution, but I know a lot of people in this industry. So you don't have, that. I'm not getting it.
I'm going to tell you the story. Let me
Yes.
There you
talk.
go. Light it up.
Yes.
I can't. I'm just so excited to meet you in person and bring you this. I didn't go to Vancouver last week, which is why you didn't hear from me.
I just assumed that.
I had to cancel it because it was Lex's, my youngest son's soccer tryouts, and there's nothing that comes in the
It's
way
awesome.
of that.
No,
So,
it's kids first.
It's first. We're the same.
so June 1st is when I'm back. That was the meeting with Mike.
Right.
So 2016 spring CHFA, I launch. And as I'm setting up my demo, I have 2 different posters. One was about traceable dairy and one was about the flavors. So in that show, I had no idea if I was going to be able to source my milk in time, because this doesn't exist today. But at the time, what I was most excited about was being the first ice cream in the country to be made with single source dairy. But as the show was starting, I still didn't have the source. So I was super optimistic. So I chose the poster with the traceable dairy because it was my passion. It was me paying homage to my dad. So my parents raised me with my own cow, and I drank my entire childhood unpasteurized milk straight from the bucket. So obviously in retail, milk and everything's pasteurized today, but my ice cream is such a high fat content that, which is why I don't have any gums and fillers or stabilizers or anything like that. But this isn't an ice cream company. The purpose of Betterwith is to disrupt the industry, right? It's about transparency. It's about accountability. It's about us working directly with farmers, bringing the farmers to the table, because we need to acknowledge and properly validate what they're doing. Not only does this create a better environment for the cows, but they can feed their family. And I was willing to pay a premium for that. So that's why I was doing this, because to me, it wasn't enough to just be a better ice cream product, right? It was going to be taking all of my upbringing on the farm and everything that I understood about that and making an ice cream that stood for something. So everyone loved the single source dairy. The buyers totally got it. They literally were like, "Is this coconut?" And I was like, "No." And I'm like, "It's full fat dairy." And they're like, "Oh, thank God." They loved it. I was like, this is full fat cream. And I'm proud of that because I believe the way I was raised is you don't get fat from real fat. And the only way you should eat ice cream is with rich, creamy, full fat cream, right? Just get over yourself. Eat ice cream the way it should be eaten, right?
Eat food the way it should be eaten. We're
Yeah.
Chinese and Italian and Croatians here. Trust me.
Yeah.
We're all good with the fat.
We're all
Bring
there.
it on.
Yeah.
I'm natural
We're all
fat's
there.
where it's at.
It's all good.
Yeah. So I was very nervous about the coconut, the plant-based. And so these buyers were like, oh my God, really? This is just real dairy? And I'm like, yeah. And so Richard from Whole Foods was super excited and they wanted it by summer. And I ended up having to do what at the time I thought was like a really, really risky email. And I emailed him saying, I don't have the source, the dairy farm yet, and I'm not going to make the summer market. And I don't want to launch until I have the single source dairy, because my whole brand values is about transparency and honesty. And he responded saying, I don't care when you're going to get this milk, but we're going to be the first to buy it because of what you just said. He's like, I appreciate that honesty and vulnerability and you missing out on summer with ice cream because you cared so much about sourcing your ingredients. And
you know why Richard's such a nice guy, why people like Richard.
Yeah. He was like, that just made me want your ice cream more.
Yeah.
And I was very scared. Like, you guys, this is my first CPG product.
Oh, no, we get it.
But see, but I'm not even, but I guess what I'm trying to understand is that I'd be terrified too, but I don't think I would have been able to do a show knowing that I wasn't like, you paid money to do a show, a CPG show, but you're not so you're telling me the story, but you don't have the sourcing it. That's ballsy, right? Because people are there ready to go. Like Richard's ready to buy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You guys, my pints were white blanks with photocopied colored stickers.
No, but see, I'm okay with that.
Are fine. I can do
I'm okay with that. Like we've we've all done, like we've glued on our own labels.
Yeah,
you build your own. You build your own craft. But the sourcing, I'm with Kenny, right? It's kind of like
nutsy. That's really, come on, you're not ready.
Like, so I was telling Kenny today that one of the favorite phrases that my wife and I have, right, is a phrase from a movie that we watched a long time ago, right? And like the movie Shakespeare in Love, there's one line in there, right? It'll all work out. How will it work out? It's a mystery, right? And we laugh about that. We do that all the time where we talk about that one phrase. But this is probably one of those ones you're like,
you're gonna get.
How is it going to turn? It's a mystery. No, not this one. Like everything else in life is good, but not this one. Like, wow.
You guys, I started Cupcakes. I've never baked cupcakes in that store.
Yeah.
Like I still don't know how to make cupcakes. Right. Like, so I always felt like you just pick up the phone and call and ask people and they'll figure it out for you. So the BC Milk Board, there was a guy there at the time, Woody, he was really great. And they were helping me logistically figure this out. But I underestimated how complicated the dairy pooling system is in this country. So I was learning everything the hard way. And so I had registered for CHFA well before, most people would think, how hard is it to source milk? You just go to the farm and you buy some milk. No, it's totally not like that at all.
It's so hard.
It is beyond. It's like ridiculously layered and complicated, and the government's involved on so many.
Oh my God, we've made milk and cheese brutally hard in this country.
So my point was disrupting that, right? And so I had the BC Milk Board working with me to unravel this and make it simpler so that we can literally take the cost of the milk and give it back directly to the farmer. That was the point. I achieved that just 6 months later.
I guess that's still the part that stuns us. Mm-hmm. I love your thought. I love where you're going. I have no idea where you're at a show that's product ready, in essence. That's the point of the show, to pitch something that's not quite there because you can't get sort of the main ingredient.
Yeah.
Like, fundamentally, that's like, showing people, I've got a really cool gas car. We just don't have gas for it. and we may not for a while. So look at the car. You could buy this. This car's wicked. You just can't run it.
You know, it's not
right.
different than the Polestar or the electric car demos that you see in the malls today, right? Because they're all in the same boat, which is like, yeah, we made the prototype. When can you get us a production vehicle? Soon.
But even for Richard to stick around, see, this is why Richard is well liked.
That's
Richard's
amazing.
Well-liked.
But
Richard,
it's amazing.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
I think that's crazy. To
He,
be honest with you.
you know, I think I had a lot of confidence because of what coming off the show. That really helped. Like
For sure.
People like that absolutely, like within the first 6 months, we were in over 225 stores.
It's amazing.
Of launching a frozen
Amazing.
product.
And when did you launch again? So you didn't launch in summer. You launched in winter now?
So there's a photo of me like literally taking the ice cream off the Horizon truck and stocking the shelf at Whole Foods Park Royal Friday night, the last Friday in November of 2016. And that was the beginning of the rainiest next 5 months in like since the 40s. It was like the longest, wettest winter we'd had for decades. And I was given this opportunity to do this great demo. I'll never forget it. And I was like, can I bring champagne? Like, this is a big deal. This is a really big deal for me. Like, and we just broke all the rules, right? They were like,
yeah,
just bring champagne. Just don't tell me you're going to open it.
Yeah.
And Whole Foods was 100% right behind me right from the beginning. They loved it. And so we did launch with single source. In my ingredient deck, my very first, this is how obsessed I was about it. My very first ingredient, traceable cream. I got permission. And then guess what? I'd get emails because customers were like, why are you tracing me?
Well, you know what? I would have looked at traceable cream thinking, I have no idea what the hell that means. So, yeah. Okay, is that good or bad? Or so is there a microchip in here? Like, is she really tracing me? Like, what?
Yeah. Farm fresh traceable cream would be written like a handful of places in bold. But
I think to that point, though, I think the one thing, like even in CPG, where most of our listeners are, there's probably only a handful of CPG, like anyone who's worked in dairy, like I'm lucky, I worked at Danone, right? So I worked on yogurt, so I kind of understand some of the dairy stuff. You know, Kenny, you've kind of been around the food stuff. Yeah.
I've never, but it's a single like, source, it's fine. I get it.
I just don't think anyone appreciates really how difficult milk is. Like we it really is just incredibly difficult.
Dairy. It's not milk. We've complicated dairy. Anything that comes from dairy is a mass complication in this country because you got too much government in it. It's just too many boards and too much bullshit and too much bureaucrats. And you can't move. Yep. And little farmers have a problem, get screwed on that because the guys who make it are the guys like the Saputos that have 15 trillion cows, or they've got people that they buy from, and that's it.
Yeah.
Little farmers, what are you gonna do? You can't sell unpasteurized still. I don't think, right? I don't think that's really allowed. I mean, you can do it, but I don't know if it's like allowed.
No, it's not. It's not legal in Canada.
Yes, I know people can do it if you have a farm. But you know what I mean? Like it's so complicated to do shit.
Yeah.
Here in a few of those categories, dairy being one of them.
Yeah.
So not only did you pick the stupidest set to be in, you pick the stupidest commodity to be with. That's okay though. You've done well.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but wow.
Yeah, that's year one, you guys. That was and sadly, I couldn't raise a dollar for investment. So not knowing the business, not knowing the industry, we ran out of money really quickly. Definitely didn't have any money to properly educate what traceable was.
Right.
I couldn't raise. So the traceable definitely impacted the margin. And I went into this business with my heart, right? This was more than a passion project. It was something I really understood, but you can't at that point have a good margin when your volume is so low.
Right.
So that brings me to today, where I had to literally move back to Victoria, back to my parents' farm. And it was the only way I was going to sustain the business. Another tough decision, because I'd been living in Vancouver for 25 years at that point. So it was It was like, I can't believe I'm going to be in my mid 40s and I'm going to move back in with my parents. Like, this is crazy. Like, how embarrassing is that? And I just believe in my ice cream so much. And this is,
I don't know if it's embarrassing. I think it's dedication.
Your kids are on a farm. That's pretty freaking cool.
It's dedication, right? Like I think it's dedication. I don't think that's embarrassing.
And I tell you the truth, like, you know what, especially in old cultured families, that's not really, you know, I mean, there's a million good spins on that. You go back, you help the folks out. They like to have you around. The grandchildren are there. You're close to the source. It keeps you grounded in your product. Like, you don't leave really the farm aspect. I mean, it's all good, man. What the hell?
That's the reality now. But when I was contemplating the decision,
that's a difference. That tough. I can see, because now you're thinking, okay, I must be a complete loser because I got to go back to mommy and daddy.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
But you can get over that pretty fast.
And this is right before, like, the world shut down. So I moved back home. I really felt that because I didn't have any money, maybe I needed to focus on just my backyard, you know, and it gave it, you know, I was trying to spin this as a very positive opportunity to focus on Vancouver Island. Wow. So, you know, I mean, you guys are going to take me back to a time where, I mean, my sales were declining pretty quick. I took what I didn't like about Cupcakes and I utilized and focused on my strength. So coming from Cupcakes, I really felt that my key core strengths and what I loved was marketing. Operationally, I did not enjoy production. So right from the beginning, I wanted to partner with co-packers. I focused on, you know, sourcing ingredients, creating this recipe, and working with co-packers. So that's really great. And it's also how most of my category is done. But you also have to understand how big that game is, right? Like, who's in that game and how are they playing that game? So that was another part of the issue with cash, is you have to have a certain amount of volume to be able to get these co-packers to make your product. So as we're declining in sales, and I'm, you know, I'm trying to be respectful of your guys' time. It was a really hard time. I think most entrepreneurs at that point would have probably quit. And you know what? I still wonder if that was the better thing to do, the smarter business decision to do.
Well, there's a business decision and then there's the emotional decision.
Exactly.
Right? And to be honest with you, knowing that it's very little, the business one probably would have been, if you really looked at it analytically and as a business, you probably would have made the decision, you know, it's dicey, right? But your emotions take over, thank God, because again, it's all good, but it's hard, right?
Oh,
hard place
yeah,
to be.
no,
when you're running out of money. That's when you should have phoned your Croatian brother, Robert, there and said, hey, remember me? He's got cash money.
I was really disheartened because the people that I was meeting to invest in Betterwith, and I'm trying to be super polite and appropriate because I'm talking to two white men, essentially. They were like, how has your husband helped you in this? And I was like, what do you mean my husband? And they were like, well, like, you couldn't have gotten here without him. And I was like, my husband had nothing to do with my first business. He had absolutely nothing.
So it doesn't really matter. Why would I need my husband to do this?
We don't see gender on this podcast. The only thing we see is talent. There's no insult taken, right? Like we know the stereotypes are there and they're bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? Like you did that, not somebody else, right? You built that cupcake business, you built the ice cream business, not somebody else.
Yeah, I was really surprised. They were like, you couldn't have gotten here like on
that's
your
a
own.
big crock of shit.
I don't understand that.
That's a big crock of shit. It's such a
I was so shocked that I literally remember pulling over in my car so I could really focus on what I was going to say next. Because I couldn't believe.
Yeah, because that's a load of shit. Like what is that? Like, why do people have to be like that, right? Like, just you've got a talented person in front of you. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what gender they are. Yeah. Just like get past it already.
Once you've got the sense to do the business, I mean, quite frankly, who cares?
Yeah. So I mean,
green from Mars.
Well, thankfully, because of Cupcakes, I I definitely had confidence and belief in myself.
Thank
And
God.
so when I moved back home and I literally could not raise a dollar, you know, my dad just, I'll never forget. And if I can get through this without crying, that'll be so amazing. But I remember the walk where we walked the farm and he just was like, the farm's got you. Like they knew me, they
See,
understood
but
what I
they
was
knew their
doing.
daughter, right? And they
Yeah.
get it. And at that point, you know, you can back, it's hard to back straight passion because passion can get you into a lot of trouble and can bankrupt you. But if you get it, like you had some business sense. You were understanding the game. Like you're learning it, but you're understanding it. It's a lot easier to back. And parents are parents, man. That's you know, what are you going to do for your kids if they need help?
Oh, of course. Well,
That's what you do, right? I mean,
we're close, right? I'm really, really close with my parents.
that's awesome. What a great story.
But I think
Yeah.
that's why I didn't quit.
Well, at that point, shit, I mean, you got Pop on side. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
That's
that was
wicked.
the reason why I was like, you know, so this farm that I
Wow.
grew up, you know, which obviously had increased in value. And my dad was like, the farm's got your back. What do you need? And that, so when that happened, that's when I realized, okay, I can't do the traceable anymore because I really need to focus on building this business with a
Right.
better, stronger margin. So in the future, we can go back to single source once we scale. And so I stripped that, I changed co-packers. I really like just focused on not compromising on the product, but making sure I would build it to a point where my gross margin would be attractive
Good
for
for you.
investors. And
Good for you.
and from that moment to this day, we're back to where we were in year one. So we've grown exponentially. And you know, the thing that's been so amazing is, you know, as I told you, I was not excited and I was not proud to move back home. But when the pandemic started and, you know, me with my science degree, the only one in the family that went to university, and I was making bets with my dad because I was like, oh, when the vaccines come, this is all over. I was stranded on a 5-acre organic farm with my parents, and it became the biggest gift of my life.
Yeah, that's not terrible. It's
It
really
was-
not terrible.
But it wasn't about the pandemic and being stuck on this farm where we could very comfortably live off the land. It was the wisdom that I was gaining from my dad.
Right. For sure.
Like my dad, I just was so impressed by him. Like what he was teaching me every day on why we were really going through the pandemic, and his, you know, interpretation of that. I stopped making bets with him after like losing the fourth one because he won every single time. He's still winning today. But it completely built this amazing bond where I was like, where have I been these last 25 years? I lost 25 years connecting with my parents like this. You know what? My parents are really fucking cool. And here I was living in Vancouver in the city thinking I was cooler.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, they're the cool ones.
Yeah.
You know, so we've got this pandemic, they're living this life. And for the first time, because they've been doing this my entire life, for the first time, they were getting validated. So the pandemic really validated farmers. It really validated supporting local, understanding where our food was coming from,
Right.
how it was growing, where it was growing. And that was what I was getting back living at the farm. And that was worth everything, you know, like, so now, like the demos I just did on the weekend, my dad's with me at the demos, right? Like
that's
he's
amazing.
right there.
How cool is that,
So
Yeah,
we've got this
that's
like
very cool.
amazing, you know,
What a great story though. Like, see, what a cool thing to take. That's just cool to get out. Like that's pretty.
That's what I'm
really
most
is.
proud of. That's,
You know?
that's what I'm most proud of is I'm like, this is not about the ice cream.
No.
This is about understanding what makes better food, how we can do it. You know, you should see my dad's hands, right? Like from being in the soil for his
All his
entire life. And I'm like, God, Dad, you're the coolest guy I know. And I've just learned so much. I've learned way beyond CPG. So
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you.
Wow.
Seriously, that's pretty cool. Like that is
really
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't, I can't sit here and tell you what's going to happen with Better with Ice Cream because I'm still in the same position where I literally am scraping by and really limited on cash because, it's so hard to get. But I'm really enjoying this, right? I'm enjoying this. I'm doing what I can. I'm loving this time that I've gotten back with my parents. And I'm becoming so much, as a person, so much more appreciative. And so the ice cream company and the growth is part of it, but it's not all of it. And that's really what's helped me with this.
Wow. Good for you.
Wow. Thank you for coming on. That's a great story.
You still need to phone Robert.
Yeah.
I really would. You laugh. I'm telling you, I would phone because you know what?
I don't have his card anymore.
Oh, it's not hard to find, my dear. You can definitely find that one.
Like just go and find him on LinkedIn. You could
reach out and you tell him, you know what? He would be one of those guys because he would get it. You know why? He came from that. Oh, and even when you watch him, he's not one of those venture capitalist assholes. He's not. You could tell. He's still grounded in old school ways of doing shit. I'm dead serious. I would call him 100 to 1. He remembers you. And what's a couple pennies to those guys? Even if he had to give him whatever, figure it out. Even if it's a loan. I mean, I'm sure he would be, those are the type of people I would go to in a heartbeat. I'm dead serious. It's a phone call. What's it cost you?
I haven't done it, but I will do it because.
What's it cost you? Phone, you start talking Croatian, he's going to laugh his guts out. You'll be all over it. Probably be Victoria the next day having dinner with your mom and dad.
Oh, you guys are invited.
Oh, I'm coming. Trust me. I'm all good with that.
You guys better come.
That would be awesome.
It's pretty special here. It's.
So where are you exactly on the island? No, you don't give us addresses. We don't want people,
Yeah.
stalking you.
No one's coming to my house.
Hey, you never know.
Definitely not your house either, Kenny. We're good.
No.
Right on the backside of Elk Lake. So Elk Lake is the lake right along the highway when you're driving from the ferry on the way to downtown. So when you're on the highway looking at Elk Lake, right on the backside is our farm. And it goes down to the lake.
Very cool.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Very cool.
But I mean, you need to come when it's fig season because we've got
you got fresh figs?
Oh, you have no idea.
Oh, that'd be a heartbeat. I love figs.
Oh, I love figs.
Right off the tree.
Yeah, I love figs.
Oh, I'm going to send you guys some.
Right off the tree, skin and all. Everything goes.
Yeah.
Well, it's all organic here. So
hey, whatever, even if it's not, I'm not even washing them. They come off the tree. It's good enough. Move on.
Okay. Well, you guys anytime, but I'm going to send you, I need your numbers so I can send you some pictures. Cause it is like, I mean, I probably eat, like, I'm not exaggerating, like 15 figs a day. It's my food in those weeks.
You know, when I first got my taste for it, well, we were, the first time we went to Italy when I was 7 and my brother was 4. And it was either Luca or Mario, because I remember the names. I don't know these people now, right? Climbed the tree and was tossing them to us.
Yeah.
And we're biting into these things thinking, holy shit, this is like crunchy and soft. And you eat everything. Yeah. Ate a little too many, paid the price for that, as little kids. Nobody was too happy in the house. No, we're thrilled. My mom and dad weren't thrilled. That's all good. But you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I love figs.
You can't describe the experience of a fig.
Love figs.
Yeah.
It's nothing else. Don't eat cheese, don't eat wine, just figs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, these are those figs.
My father-in-law had a fig because a lot of, the Portuguese and Italians in town all have, actually the Croats too, all have the fig trees.
Of course they do.
Right. So my father-in-law, when he was alive, he used to have fig tree. I loved them. You can't beat it.
So my friend that gave me my first fresh fig was Croatian. And then I got in big shit when I took them home. Like, he gave me 5 figs, right? 1 for each person in my family. And I had them at his house, loved it, brought them home. So I thought it was cool. So I was like, look, you can just eat the whole thing. You don't got to peel it. And they're like, what's the matter with you? Do you know what those are? I'm like, I know what these are. I've just had like 4 of them. They're like, you got to skin them. And I was like, you don't skin it. Why? Oh,
you can skin them.
So after that, I was like, he's like, you want more figs? I'm like, no, I'm just going to come to your house and eat them at your house. It's too much drama at my house. Forget it. They're wasted there. So, yeah.
The comment that I made earlier about my parents being validated, farmers being validated for the first time.
Yeah.
So there's a local magazine in town, a food magazine, and I was flipping through Instagram. This is like summer of probably 2020. And there was the full cover shot was this box of figs with these hands holding the box. And I was like, that's my dad. Like, I just know my dad's hands.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
And so that's where I was going with that. You know, it's the first time ever that they were getting recognition, because when I grew up, we had the figs. Do you know how much work it took to convince people to try a fig? Never mind pay for it. You know, my parents raised, so, you know, now that my dad comes with me to do these demos, it's role reversal, because when I was growing up, I was watching him hustle, right, with his accent and trying to sell. He had to give away half of the fruit to convince people to try it.
Just to try it.
Better.
Yeah.
And now, you know, he's, you know, my ice cream runner, getting ice cream pints for customers. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's amazing.
I'm just trying to make it fun, right? Like, let's be proud of what we're making. You know, appreciate what it takes, but also we need to have fun, like, or else why are we doing this?
Well, especially with food. I mean, food is
exactly,
that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so your task is phone Robert, get some cash, find the single source dairy. We're going to go $9.99 or $10.99 on that, so the margins are there. Fuck the $7.99 bullshit. We're going to do it properly, and we're going to make some coin. And people will pay. You know why? Because you're going to teach them about this traceable thing. And people are a lot smarter than me and probably know more than I do, so they'll be ready to go with it. Keep the distribution tight, light it up.
Once we have the ability to properly communicate and educate the consumer as to where that difference is, then you can definitely charge for that. The Whole Foods customer got it. Like, I did that's where you stay. You stay with those guys, because the Whole Food customer will get it. You have a lot of places on the island. You may not have 150 stores. Yeah.
But you need 25 good ones, and you got those on the island, and they're in the city too. They're here. You just got to limit your distribution, make it special, small runs. You're going to pay more, whatever, charge more.
Yeah.
People will pay. Not everybody. I get it, but this isn't for everybody anyway.
No, but yeah, and I was going to say it's not for everybody. It's for people who appreciate it.
You really got to love it, and then you got to love the story and the whole thing about it. That's what this is.
But once you buy it, you're going to buy it, and that's it, right? And you're going to keep buying it. Listen, and I think that's what Kenny's after, right? Because 100%. Then you're putting stuff back in your pocket, and then what'll happen is you'll find other people that'll buy it, right? Like, you'll find your cachet. It might always be small, but so what? It doesn't really matter.
Nothing wrong with being boutique and enjoying it and staying to your values and what you believe, and do the right thing for what you believe is the right thing. I mean, God bless it, man. Go. Very cool.
That's my
I'm glad we got you on.
Yay. Yeah, I'm glad you came on.
I really did. I'm really happy you came on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Igor.
If people want to find you, where do they find you?
How do they find you?
Betterwith.com. And if they email me, it goes straight to me. LinkedIn. I mean, I feel like I'm everywhere. Come on, you guys. I am not hiding. I'll give you my phone number if you want. Like,
no phone numbers. No phone numbers. But
not here.
LinkedIn. We'll put Lori's LinkedIn contacts in the website. And then
I love sharing the purpose, and I just really hope that I can, through this podcast and through what I'm doing, inspire other better food products to be made.
Yeah, we think so.
I think you will. This is how you start. This is how we all start. This is how we start helping people too.
Yep.
Exactly.
We help ourselves. Like Phil and I've learned a lot in the last year and a half, 2 years with the amount of guests we've had on. Change how we do things, change how we look at things.
Yep.
Well, and you know what? It's actually one of the reasons why it's been so easy to stay in this business, because I really like the people.
There's a lot of good people. I tell people all the time, you leave this industry, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
you go to the CHFA, you saw it's a good industry. There's really nice people in this industry. Like, there's good people.
Yep. With good intention.
Yeah. And most of them give a shit. They really do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
awesome.
Good for you.
Awesome. Thanks, Lori.
Nice to have on. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Oh, this is fun. I can't wait for you guys to try my strawberry ice cream.
Well, I'm going to Whole Foods now. It's easy. I mean, I can't go tonight because we ran this a little late, but that's okay. Tomorrow.
I'm going to bring it to you.
And when you come to town, when you go see Vargas, they're not far from me.
Okay, great.
Like they're just 5 minutes away, so I'll just meet you there. If you want, I'll meet you. We'll see if Michael we'll have an ice cream together.
Awesome. That would be fun.
Well, yes, you got to ask Mike. I mean, Mike may not want to see me. Who knows? But
God.
If you see Joyce in the office, Joyce will go.
Okay, great.
Okay.
All you have to do.
Thanks,
is ask.
Lori.
That's it, man. Lori, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. This is fun.
Phil, stick around for a bit,
Yep.
and then that's it. Lori, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Bye, Lori.
We'll give your dad a hug.
Guys.
We'll give your mom a hug too.
Yeah.
I will.
Ciao.
Awesome.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, Mr. Chang.
Well, that was pretty awesome. I want her
Yeah.
ice cream now. I can't get it. Not yet.
No, I can though.
Yeah.
So I think tomorrow on the way home from, I'm at Jiva tomorrow. Maybe on the way home from Jiva, I'll stop at Choices. I'll stop at the Choices up on Marine Drive. She said Choices, right?
Yep.
I'll stop at the Choices on Marine Drive on the way home. Yeah, fuck. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
I love ice cream. I really do, man.
She's so funny. She won a Gemini, which is a big deal.
You think?
And it just kind of like wandered into the conversation somewhere.
No, it's cool though, right? But her whole story is cool. And the thing
Yeah.
with her folks is really cool. I
Yeah.
really think she should phone Robert. I really do. She phones
think-
him up, just starts talking Croatian as a joke, like the fun that she had with him that night. You know what? Those guys look for people like that.
But you know what I think she needs to do? I think you're right, I think she needs to it's the messiness of the profit margins. So she just needs to get that cleaned up. And then if she goes to Richard, it'll make a lot of sense. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like the final bit, if you will.
It can be, but someone like a Robert or those guys have enough contacts and have enough business sense that they may be able to find other places where she can pull a few pennies and help out, right?
Yep.
Or be the funds that helps her get to the single source and that $9.99, $10.99, where you can start to charge appropriately. I understand you're not going to sell the same amount as Haagen-Dazs 2 for $8. I get it. I'm not stupid. I understand that. Who cares?
But you're also not Unilever.
Exactly. You don't want to be Nestle or Unilever.
You're
Let
not.
them do their thing.
I think Haagen-Dazs is now. I thought Haagen-Dazs is Unilever.
No, Breyers is Unilever, right?
I think
Haagen-Dazs is Nestle. I'm almost positive it's Nestle.
it was. I thought.
And then Breyers owns both. I mean, Unilever owns Breyers and Haagen-Dazs.
I thought Unilever bought out a whole bunch of these things.
Breyers for sure. I don't know if they did Ben and Jerry's. I don't know.
Oh no, you're right. It's Nestle.
Yeah, I'm positive it was Nestle. So I mean, you got two massive. I mean, Nestle owns everything on the planet. I mean, they're in everything.
Yeah.
Right. And it is a good ice cream. I get it, but this is local. We need to support this shit. Not. Nestle's got more money than God. They can figure it out. Support people like this. Anyway, that's 8:15, baby. We've lost everybody by now.
We have definitely lost everybody by now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Awesome. For Linda, who's probably still there, thanks, boss, for sticking around.
Thanks, boss.
And then I guess that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we'll chat with you later.